the World Series champion Dodgers bench coach. Danny, great to see you. Great to be with you. Thanks for taking the time to be with us. I have my first question, and I thought about this for a couple of weeks since we had Miguel Rojas on Foul Territory. He mentioned that during the World Series, of course, Game 7, he's in the on-deck circle, right? He obviously looks over to the dugout looking for you. When you were not to be found in your primary spot, he said, hey, I'm actually going to get this at bat. He said, listen, I have been pitch hit for many times in my career. I believe he said hundreds, but he knew he was getting the at bat because you weren't in your spot. I would like to know your perspective of that, kind of where you were in terms of that equation and that moment for this club.
Yeah, no, that's a good starting point, I guess. But man, the game, I tell everybody this, like the game was such a blur with everything that was going on, and that was such a big moment. But yeah, just the ninth inning in general with Miguel, like I kind of take that as like, I didn't have him prepared. I didn't have him ready to go because I knew he was going to hit. He started the game like we want him to hit. He was in the lineup that day because he was the right choice. Obviously, you saw how it played out. But in that instance, usually I can try to get to the guys a little bit earlier, ease their minds on what's going on, who's pitching, what we're going to do, kind of give them a heads up. And I didn't. I just, I was fully committed to it. And usually I'm on the top step kind of, directing as much as I can and making sure that they aren't confused on anything. And in that point, I'm glad he wasn't. But yeah, I wasn't where I was usually at the top step. But it was pretty incredible for Miguel.
Yeah, incredible moment for him. Incredible series for everybody involved. Here you are. You're at the start of a new camp, trying to run it back for a third time. And, how do you keep the momentum kind of going early in camp when these dudes just laid everything on the line in that 7-game series, you guys included? I can just imagine Doc just like all the coaches just falling on your ass after that, like just staring at the ceiling for a little bit, to breathing, exhaling after that series. What's sort of the messaging? I don't know if Doc has kind of given his address to the team yet, but what's sort of the messaging and saying like, hey, that was then, let's keep it going now?
Yeah, no, that's definitely the sentiment here. It's, we haven't done our meeting yet. Guys just reported today. So we'll see what he comes at the team with tomorrow. But that's kind of been the sentiment with us because over the last couple of years, and everybody knows, like we've had really short off seasons. And 2 years ago, or 3 springs now, going to Korea, and that was a short off season. Playing deep in 24, and then 25, we're going to Japan to start the season, then obviously playing into November last year. And then this year we're back a little bit early for the WBC, but our off seasons have been quick. And I think as a collective, we've kind of realized that we need to kind of take a breath, relax as much as we can these past couple months. And then when when tomorrow comes, be ready to go and feel the energy. And I think what we've done a good job of, we signed some new guys. We've kept the vibe up, the buzz up, and that's what I've felt so far just being here for a week is everybody's excited, everyone's ready to go. There's no sense of complacency or guys being tired, and it's still early, and you guys know how it is at the beginning of camp. Everyone's excited. It's a new year, you see some new faces, but that's kind of where we're at right now.
The thing is with camp, and you just mentioned it, everyone's excited, the new faces, but this is a team, everybody, all 30, Danny, as you know better than anybody, say like, yeah, the goal is to win a World Series. The difference is there's probably a 10% of the teams that can legitimately do it. What is it about this club? Obviously, it's not a reloading. It's not a rebuilding. It's just an expectation. The Dodgers don't win the World Series this year because...
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can say health number one, right? We have a great roster and we've added to it. But over the past couple of years, like keeping guys, specifically pitchers, healthy, that's the easy answer because that's kind of how it is with us. But I think if we stay healthy, we have a very, very good chance. And if guys continue to, I know we're going to get some guys back once we get into the season with Tommy and, obviously Kike and Brock Stewart, Evan Phillips. Like we have some guys that need to get back on the field that we want back on the field as quickly as possible. But it goes back into, the last question. It's like when we have these short off seasons and you don't really know how guys will respond to that. And you kind of have to do your best as an organization, as a staff to kind of mitigate what you can on the workload and all that stuff. So I think being healthy, easy answer, obviously, but it's the truth.
You mentioned Tommy Edman there. We got the update a little bit ago. As expected, I've been expecting he's not going to be ready for opening day. Help people understand who are watching this, like why the rest of the season is a lot more important than, I guess the kind of a pageantry of a meaningless day, late in March. That's a lot less important than having him ready to go for when he's back in 130 games and then into the postseason.
Yeah, I think, if you talk to Tommy, I think he'd say the same thing. I don't think it's necessarily about playing every single day. It's getting back to where he's healthy and he's 100% of what he is and how he can play. Because I don't think people understand what he went through last year playing and the injuries and just not being 100% and how that takes a toll and what he did to actually get back on the field and help us win. I think guys, not just Tommy, but guys get tired of not being at their best and being out there to compete because the game is so hard right now that physically you have to be where as high as you can be to compete and succeed. So I think Tommy's at that, and I think we're fully on board with making sure that he feels good about himself and we feel good about where he's at, so he can go out and give us the Tommy that everyone expects.
Danny, I think a lot of people realize a bench coach, you're second in command when it comes to this team. Of course, if Doc gets a little crazy, gets ejected, everyone's looking to you. But what exactly are the primary roles of a bench coach? And Craig Osterberg, 007, wants to know, what advice do you give to Dave Roberts? What are your primary responsibilities and how do you guys work as a tandem?
Yeah, it's a good question. I get that a lot, but I think for my role specifically, I have to kind of cover both sides of the ball and everything. And so we start before the game. We have a ton of meetings, and Alana, you've been around, so you understand kind of how we do it. We try to get on the same page before and talk about as much as we can about situations that might come up. And I think that's kind of like my main task throughout the game is to make sure like we have things covered before they happen, whether that be, pinch hitting, defensively, base running. Obviously, the pitching matchups are probably the biggest thing that you can control within the game. And so that's kind of my number one priority is making sure that I kind of do my best to look ahead and foresee things that are going to happen and put them in a good spot to make that decisions kind of come out with outcomes. So short answer, that's kind of the main deal.
Hey, one thing you'll have to be keeping an eye on this season is the ABS coming to the league, coming to Major League Baseball. Yeah. What kind of changes does that make for you, for the staff? And, I know a lot of fans wonder, like, are there any players that they got a red light on hitting the old helmet there? How do you figure the Dodgers will implement ABS this season?
TBD, right? I think we had it last year in spring training. I think it's great. For just in spring training, the short time that we had it. But as far as like tactically how we do it, I don't know how it's going to play out, to be honest with you. I think we're going to be as smart as we can with it and give guys who have, experience with it, number one, but also everyone has to learn it. So I think just kind of the growing pains in spring training and guys learning, maybe they're off, maybe they're a little bit emotional with their decision because obviously that comes in. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And, it's going to change a lot of part of the later end of the game where, some people may say, the game changed on this pitch or this outcome happened because of this pitch. I think we're going to be able to, at least reverse that or fact check it or however you want to go about it. But I think it's going to be really good. It's going to be fun. And it's really exciting for the fans. Just in spring training last year, watching it play out where they put it up on the Jumbotron and all that, it's pretty cool. Even in the dugout, honestly, watching us, we're like, man, what is it? Is it gonna, how is he right? Is he way off? And so it'll be fun. I think it'll be good. I think it'll be good for the game.
You mentioned, is he right? Is he way off? Which leads me to the whole challenges, not just ABS, but just challenges in general. I mean, how much do you guys, obviously we have a great, I say we, like I'm still there. I kind of wish obviously that I was, but a great video department and obviously people that you guys rely on heavily. What goes into that? If there's a call on the field that is a challengeable call, take us through what goes into that between you and Doc and the video coordinator and all of those things.
Yeah, no, it's actually pretty fun. And, ultimately, like when it first happens, that's another thing. I jump off and I usually try to hit Doc to make sure he puts his hand up because we got in a couple, with the pitch clock and how they're trying to keep the game moving. Like if you don't put your hand up, you don't get to challenge. So that's, the first thing. And then I run to the phone and I call our video department, which is Jonathan Rhymes. He does a great job. And I think number one, like knowing the rules, of the game, both him and I, and obviously Bob Guerin on the bench next to me, knowing that and what we can challenge, what we can't challenge in the situation of the game. And then ultimately after that, it's up to Jonathan on the phone. And so I kind of try to keep it loose with him a little bit in certain times just to make sure, because and then other times I just kind of making sure he knows what the clock is, because we have 15 seconds to make a decision. We go back and forth real quickly within those 10 to 12 seconds or whatever it is, getting on the phone. We kind of take a look at the game situation. Is it later in the later in the game? I mean, like the 5th, 6th, 7th inning, to where if we challenge, we don't get it back. After the 7th, obviously we can go into the crew chief review, and so we don't really lose our challenge. We can challenge something else even if we don't win that challenge specifically. So it's really early in the game to make sure like it makes sense within the play of the game. Is it a run scoring play? Is there nobody out? Is there 2 outs and the guy's trying to beat out a bunt or an infield single or something like that? Is that worth the challenge, depending on if it's a 50-50 or a 60-40 call from Jonathan? So he does a great job. I think sometimes we'll challenge just to challenge, because at times you don't get to take them home with you after the game. But for the most part, I think we try to make it make sense and have it be worthwhile.
Shifting back to kind of the player side of things, the roster side of things, it's Andrew and Brandon's, I guess it keeps them up at night. How do you keep building on a team that is the best in baseball, that just won a World Series and all of that? You got some big pieces. Kyle Tucker added, Edwin Diaz added, but what I am always really into is the clubhouse dynamic and the kind of, they're not even unsung heroes, but those important dudes that aren't making the millions of dollars, the billions of dollars like some of these guys are making. To that, I'll ask, how important was it? You guys start and end your off season re-signing Miguel Rojas, re-signing Kike Hernandez, the intangibles that they bring to a clubhouse. Obviously, what they do on the field, we all see, but what they bring to clubhouse cohesion and, boys being boys over 180 days and whatever it ends up being. Just tell people a little bit more about what they bring to the mix.
Yeah, that's, honestly, it's hard to articulate, to be honest with you, because what Kike does in the clubhouse, on the field, off the field, the leadership. I've been with Kike since 2015, I think, and obviously he left for a little bit, but we have a great relationship, and how he's grown and what he does on and off the field is second to none, obviously. And Miggy's right behind him on that. I mean, we have a lot of other guys. Freddie's incredible in the clubhouse. Teo is awesome in the clubhouse. Like, we have a really good dynamic and culture, and I know that's the buzzword, but those 2 guys drive it for sure. Kike and Miggy Rowe, and it's on both sides of the ball. It's not just with position players. Like, they include everyone. Nobody's safe with those guys, including the staff. So it's great. Like, the camaraderie with it, and over the course of the season, 180 games. Oh, sorry about the lights just came off, but they're awesome, and there's a reason that they keep. We want them back. And we want them back up and down. The organization, the front office, the field staff, the players, like, everybody wants them back. So I think that's a telltale about how good they've been for the club, and you can see in just interviews with them and off the field, and you see what they do on the field. Like, they have fun, they love the game, and that's a huge part of it, and they love everything that comes with it.
Danny, I know you got to get to some meetings. Obviously, a lot going on there today as full squad reports. Before I let you go, I have one final question. You continue to grow in your career. You can continue to grow in this game and in your role. There's some teams that want Danny Lehman as their manager, but yet you have chosen to stay with the Los Angeles Dodgers. I would imagine, like all of us that are goal-oriented, perhaps that is a goal you want at some point. Why did you decide to stay?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different ways to look at it for me, but I think just staying on the baseball side, like, there's no better place to be. And I truly believe that. I think what our front office does to keep our team competitive, to reinvest in the team, the fans, the city, but ultimately, like, the people within the organization. I talk to this with my wife, daily at times, and even for the family side of it, it's second to none. So, I don't have anything but great things to say about the organization, and I like to win, and I like to be able to compete, and not everybody can say that they can go to work and be expected to win, expected to contribute and bring some value to the team. And that's how it is here. And so I think for me, it's more of waiting for the opportunity overall, but I'm not necessarily in a hurry to do that, right? To be able to lead a team. And obviously everybody's been great to me, and Dave's been awesome to me here. And I feel like I can contribute and add value. And so I don't know if there's a better place to wake up every day and go to work than right here. So it's tough to compete with.
Hey, somebody just said it in the chat right now. You got a Danny wants more rings. You got to fill up that hand with rings. That's also a pretty nice perk of being around in Dodger Blue. Danny, we know you're busy. You got some stuff ahead of you. We appreciate you hanging out with us. We'll see you at Camelback Ranch when we're out there in a couple of days. But thanks again for the time.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime, guys. Look forward to talking to you guys again.
All right.